2023. My name is Michael Leizerman, here with the Trial Guide's tip of the day. Today's tip comes from the classic David Ball on Damages, written by David Ball, of course. And here we have David to read the tip today. Good morning, David.
And how are you today? I hope you're well.
Very much so. Thank you.
This says, good lawyers sound like people, not like lawyers. Good voir dire is conducted by lawyers who sound like people, because jurors more easily talk to people than to lawyers.
Yes, this is very wise. That when we talk, we're trial lawyers, not contract lawyers. When trial lawyers talk to people, you want to sound not like you expect a lawyer to sound like. I bet you have some stories you could tell about this.
Well, I mean, my favorite description of this is when people get afraid of clowns, why do you dress up like a clown? This is the same thing. Lawyers are the butts of jokes. Lawyers are the objects of all kinds of anti-lawyer, anti-plaintiff, anti-lawyer biases. Until they get to know you a little bit, you are no exception to the stereotypes and the biases and suspicion is there. Plus, in voir dire, if you want them to open up a little bit, they're not going to open up to people that make them uncomfortable. They're not going to open up to people who are being formal. They're not going to open up to people unless you open it up. And the best way to do that is to talk like people. How do you talk when you are out in public and really want to have a conversation with somebody? You don't come up to them holding a clipboard in one hand and a piece of pencil in the other hand and talking legalese and sounding like a lawyer and in your lawyer important voice. So you talk like a normal person. And that doesn't mean you need to sound negative in any way at all. You just, as Jerry Lewis used to say, talk regular. You talk like a normal human being talks if you want people to relate to you like a normal human being. And that is the only kind of being with which you can establish any kind of rapport with jurors. And then you listen. You don't just sound like people. You listen like people who really want to hear what that prospective juror has to say. So all this is saying is, stop being a lawyer during voir dire, actually during the whole trial. Be a human being first.
I love this. And I love that you've made the distinction. It's not just the words. Of course, we don't build rapport by saying, will you follow the preponderance of the evidence? There are horrible things like that. But it's also more subtle than that. It's what I see a lot of lawyers when they're, let's say, practicing an opening. That first second is so important. I see so many lawyers just switch into lawyer mode. May it please the court. All of a sudden, they put that on versus when you really watch lawyers who have been successful, most of them are talking with the jury. Not condescending to, talking with.
And some folks feel like they have to do the little thing for the judge, may it please the court. That's okay, but that's for the court. And that's a little formality, and you do it towards the judge. Now you come to the jury and talk to the jury. Okay, so you can fulfill your function, your insofar as there is any such thing. It's like saying, get that out of the record, or for the record, give me your name. Well, they already have your name. It's not for there's a lot of nonsense like that. And I'm not sure that may it please the court and that sort of thing is always nonsense. And there may be some places where you have to say that, or some judges who like to hear it. But to differentiate that, talking to the judge and talk to these folks, get your pleasure out of those folks. A wonderful trial consultant named Diane Wiley, who was with the National Jury Project, I think she still is, said years ago that you have to convince yourself that you enjoy doing voir dire. In other words, it's a privilege, it's a pleasure, it's nice to be able to connect with people like this. Find some pleasure in that so that you're losing yourself in the pleasure of it and not sitting there saying, which one of these damn people do I have to get rid of? Aha, did you file a lawsuit after that wreck? Get out of that.
Wow. No, it's a good suggestion. And you talk about differentiation, and I think it is important to say that we can't make every moment the absolute most wonderful moment possible. There's some things we have to do as lawyers, and I try to differentiate those. So, for example, I might say, "Now, let me ask you a question, which I'm required to ask in order for us to, do my job. Is this photo a fair and accurate representation of
Yeah.
the way it looked at the time?" So now I'm at least, if I have to use that legal language, it's understandable why I'm doing it.
And don't say boilerplate things that are not going to be true. I'm not here to pry, but, and then go ahead and pry. You can say, yeah, I hate to sound like I'm prying with you, but I'm required to find this out. That's different from saying, we're not going to pry. You can relax about that now. Did you really hate your mother? Don't set up don't make yourself a liar in that little short section that the first impression they get of you. You want their impression to be, this is a person I can relate to. The other really important point here is if you want these jurors to think that you care about human beings the way you're professing to care about your client, there is no better way to convince people that you care about them than to listen to them. One of my great weaknesses, that you listen to them. I listen, but I don't let people know that. You need to let them know that you don't have to do anything. Just look at them, not as appropriate. Don't get boilerplate things. If somebody says something terrible happened to them, acknowledge it, even if it's an "oh" or a "I'm sorry that happened." But these formal thank you for being, thank you for your candor is not a good thing to say because some people feel like candor is a sexual act. They don't know what that word means. Thanks for talking about that. It's much more human. Be the human being that you are, the part of that human being that you are, that you want the jurors to perceive you as. And it's especially important in voir dire because you need them to be comfortable enough to tell you things that they think you might not like. What else is there to voir dire?
Thank you, this beginning of the week, David, for being here, sharing your humor and your wisdom with us. Thank you. Let's now take a deep breath together. And as we do so, just be aware, be grateful to be alive today, this Monday. May the work that we do today help reduce suffering in the world. May our efforts and the time we spend today help repair the world. May we fiercely and compassionately advocate for our clients and champion their stories. I'm going to ring a bell 3 times now. This can take you into a meditation practice, a prayer practice, or just remind you, it's Monday. Wake up, go out, do good things, and have fun while you're doing it.